let's begin on how does an ICC function, because the receipt of a complaint to the formulation of an inquiry report, everything is a part of an ICC function. So primarily ICC has the function, three broad functions. Okay, there can be many distinctive functions under these heads, but these are the three broad functions that an ICC needs to perform. सबसे पहला आपको ध्यान रखना है that ICC is following the procedure which is prescribed under the Act to the T. Why procedure is very important? Okay, basically, so there was a case law in the Delhi High Court wherein what had happened was the ICC had recommended an action to the management, and the management had said that we need to terminate this employee. However, I have already spoken about this in the previous lectures also. What had happened was that they did not follow the procedure. Again, there was a case related to the university where they had to follow some service rules which were applicable. Now, for every action that will be there, whenever you read the POSH Act, you will see that whenever a procedure has to be performed, it says that service rules as may be prescribed. For every state, you will have a peculiar service rule that you will have to follow to the T. Otherwise, anyway, I've just lost the case law. So the case, actually the one that I'm talking about, was that there was a separate set of rules which was prescribed by the Karnataka state. Okay, there are service rules applicable. What had happened was two termination letters were issued to the accused. First letter, the inquiry procedure happened, and what had happened was an action was recommended to the ICC that so and so action should be taken. What the ICC did, that they suspended the employee for 15 days. In that period of 15 days, they again issued a termination letter. Okay, saying that this is an administrative ground. Now that the employee is under suspension, we want to terminate him. This was challenged before the High Court, and the High Court had said that in the Karnataka service rules that are applicable in the instant case, there is a separate set of procedure which is prescribed if you want to terminate any employee. Because what would happen is that an ICC inquiry is already held against him. Okay, so this would not amount to a termination simpliciter. टर्मिनेशन सिम्प्लिसिटर का क्या मतलब है कि आप एज एचआर मैनेजर्स बोल रहे हो या आप एज अ मैनेजमेंट बोल रहे हो कि वी नो लॉन्गर रिक्वायर सर्विसेज. However, the court held that because there is an ICC inquiry which has already happened against him and the employee is under suspension, what you as an ICC and as a management body need to do is that you need to follow the service rules if you want to terminate any employee. You can't just say that we are administrative decision लेके हम उसको terminate कर रहे हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे उनके ऊपर stigmatic termination आ जाएगा. यहाँ पे the employee was already under suspension due to a POSH proceeding that was going on, and now you have terminated him. So whenever there is an action to be taken which is in relation to the POSH Act, you have to follow the service rules. Now service rules will always prescribe that you give a notice, there is a time period, you call for witness, take evidence, all the procedure. So very, very necessary that whenever any action, forget termination, any action is being taken against any employee, you follow the procedure. Because what would happen is if you do not follow the procedure, it would the court would say that the inquiry is vitiated because you have not followed procedure. It will then quash the inquiry altogether. Many appeals get dismissed in such cases. Okay, so the first and the primary thing that an ICC needs to do here is that you need to follow procedure. Okay, the second aspect here would be documentation. What would happen is that whenever there would be a process that will be initiated by the ICC, the thing that you need to ensure is that documentation. Very likely that whatever the management has decided while concluding the proceedings of the ICC, it will go to court. Now when you go to court and you just say, no, we had considered her application, or we had done counseling, or we had taken a meeting, and if you don't have minutes to the meeting, if you don't have the responses via email or via the registered post, you don't have anything to substantiate your claim. So whenever you have a proceeding, very, very important to keep the documentation of everything. What happens is when you as management or ICC receive complaints, ठीक है, एक्ट के अंडर दिया गया है that you have to send a notice to the accused person within a period of 7 days. ठीक है, taking an example that I file a complaint today is 25th of September. What happens is I do not receive a reply by the ICC. 3-4 दिन हो गए. I think that the ICC has maybe not considered my complaint at all, or what is going on, is the ICC functioning or not. So what you should take care is that आपको कभी भी complaint receive हो रही है What you need to do is that you just give an acknowledgement. You don't give an acknowledgement of the fact that you are initiating proceeding, but you give an acknowledgement of the receipt of complaint. What you need to do is that you need to reply that we have received your complaint, and you do that within the same day, within 5 to 6 hours. So here what would happen is that the aggrieved woman will know that there is an acknowledgement by the management of the fact that I am facing a complaint, and yes, they have received the complaint. And then you can follow up and just send in a mail or write a letter that this is the act that is prescribed and we are going to take action according to so and so. But the first and the foremost step would be that yes, you acknowledge the fact that you have received the complaint. Okay. And timeline is very important. There is a strict timeline given under the act for everything that has to be followed. Within 3 months you need to file a complaint, within 7 days. I will just go through all of that, but timeline is very strict under the act. Why I am saying procedure, documentation and timeline? This is not something that I'm making up on my own, or this is not something that I have interpreted. This is what is provided under the law. You have to follow the law. There is no escape or no exception that you can otherwise create, which is provided under the law. Law में दिया है मतलब follow करना है. Exceptional circumstances में ये चीजें आपको आप इनसे हट सकते हैं, but primarily you need to follow the law.